when they were chasing merchant ships, he would put lighted matches, which were essentially lengths of rope that you would set a cannon alight with, into his hat, so that he did really look like the devil incarnate.
When you think of pirates, images of billowing sails, black flags, and roaring cannons instantly spring to mind. But while their names are etched into history, it was often their ships that truly inspired fear across the seas. Today we're diving into the most feared pirate ships in history, and the captains whose reputations were forever tied to their vessels.
Employing fear as a weapon, and part of that is by making yourself recognisable, by ensuring that people know who you are and your sort of notoriety.
The Golden Hind. The Golden Hind, commanded by Sir Francis Drake, occupies a unique space in maritime history, straddling the line between piracy and state-sanctioned privateering. Originally named the Pelican, Drake rechristened the ship during his 1577 voyage around the world, a journey that cemented both his and the vessel's place in legend. Sleek and well-armed, the Golden Hind was perfectly suited for long voyages and hit-and-run attacks on enemy ships. Drake's most famous exploit aboard the Golden Hind came in the Pacific, where he captured the Spanish galleon Nuestra Señora de la Concepción, better known as the Cacafuego. Laden with silver, gold, and precious jewels, the prize was one of the richest hauls ever taken by an English privateer. Though technically operating under Queen Elizabeth's orders, Drake's activities blurred the line between lawful warfare and piracy, particularly in the eyes of Spain. Upon completing the circumnavigation of the globe in 1580, Drake returned to England a hero, and the Golden Hind was preserved as a museum ship in Deptford. For decades, it stood as a symbol of England's growing naval power and daring on the high seas. While not a pirate ship in the traditional sense, the Golden Hind was feared by Spain and revered in England.
You could hide in coastal waters fairly easily. You could lose yourself, especially in the Caribbean, full of islands, along the Atlantic seaboard of America, full of a barrier of sand islands. So in those waters, they were perfect.
Queen Anne's Revenge. Edward Blackbeard Teach remains one of the most legendary names in piracy, and much of his fearsome reputation was tied to the Queen Anne's Revenge. Originally a French slave ship named La Concorde, it was captured by Blackbeard in 1717 and transformed into a pirate's dream of a warship. Outfitted with over 40 cannons and a crew of nearly 280 men, the ship became a floating fortress capable of overpowering almost any opponent it encountered. Blackbeard's mastery of psychological warfare was equally formidable. He would braid slow-burning fuses into his thick black beard, setting them alight before battle so smoke wreathed his face, making him appear like a demonic apparition. The Queen Anne's Revenge's most infamous moment came in May 1718 when Blackbeard blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina. For nearly a week, he held the entire port hostage, capturing ships and taking prominent citizens prisoner until his demands for medical supplies were met. No cannon had to be fired for Blackbeard's message to be understood. His ship's presence alone was enough to force total compliance. The Queen Anne's Revenge met an anticlimactic end just months later. In June 1718, the ship ran aground of the coast of North Carolina, possibly as part of a deliberate scheme by Blackbeard to downsize his crew and abscond with the lion's share of the plunder.
I'd be very surprised if any treasure is found, any of Kidd's treasure ever comes to light. I think Lord Belmont basically managed to get his hands on the entire haul.
Adventure Galley. Captain William Kidd's Adventure Galley was a unique ship designed for versatility, featuring both sails and oars, an unusual combination that allowed it to chase down prey even in windless conditions. Built in London in 1695, it was initially commissioned for privateering, giving Kidd legal authority to attack enemy ships during wartime. Outfitted with 34 guns, it was swift and heavily armed, perfect for hunting pirates and hostile merchant vessels. But Kidd's career took a dramatic turn in 1698 when he captured the Quito Merchant, an Armenian-owned vessel sailing under French papers but captained by an Englishman. This action blurred the lines between lawful privateering and outright piracy, especially in the eyes of England's powerful trading interests. His capture of the Quito Merchant enraged political leaders, leading to Kidd's branding as a pirate. The Adventure Galley, once a symbol of legitimate naval warfare, suddenly carried the stigma of criminality. But by then, the ship was in poor condition. Its hull was rotting, it leaked constantly, and had become increasingly unseaworthy. Off the coast of Madagascar, Kidd abandoned the Adventure Galley, stripping it of its valuables before it sank. Kidd's own fate was sealed shortly afterwards. He was arrested, tried, and hanged in 1701.
There were ships all over the place, merchant ships, waiting to be plundered.
Royal Fortune. Bartholomew "Black Bart" Roberts was perhaps the most successful pirate in history in terms of sheer volume, capturing more than 400 ships during his brief career. His flagship, actually a series of vessels, all bearing the name Royal Fortune, was the centerpiece of his naval dominance. The largest and most formidable of these was a former French warship armed with around 42 cannons and crewed by more than 150 men. Roberts ran his ships with military-like discipline. He banned gambling and alcohol, demanded neat dress from his crew, and insisted on Sunday church services, an unusual level of order in the chaotic world of piracy. But that discipline, combined with the Royal Fortune's firepower, made him a terror in the Atlantic. Roberts's reach extended from the coast of Brazil to the Caribbean, up to Newfoundland, and across to West Africa, disrupting trade and plundering vessels with ruthless efficiency. His reign ended abruptly in February 1722 off the coast of Gabon, where HMS Swallow engaged the Royal Fortune. Roberts was killed by grape shot early in the battle, and without their leader, his crew quickly surrendered.
All new tonight, pirate skeletons found in a legendary shipwreck off the Cape. And now researchers are trying to identify who they are
and trace them to their living relatives in New England.
Whydah. The Whydah Galley began its life as a slave ship built in England in 1715 and intended for the transatlantic trade. In early 1717, it was captured by Samuel "Black Sam" Bellamy, who quickly recognized its potential as a pirate ship. Bellamy armed it with 28 cannons and used its speed and cargo capacity to devastating effect, amassing a fortune from over 50 captured ships in a matter of months. Bellamy was known as the Prince of Pirates for his comparatively fair treatment of his crew and captives, but his success was short-lived. In April 1717, the Whydah was caught in a violent storm off Cape Cod. The ship capsized and broke apart, killing Bellamy and nearly all of his crew. Only 2 men survived. In 1984, underwater archaeologists discovered the wreck under layers of sand and water. The ship's bell, inscribed with "The Whydah Galley 1716, confirmed the identity of the wreck. The Fancy. Henry Every's ship, the Fancy, was originally a 46-gun warship named Charles II, built for the English Navy. In 1694, Every and his fellow mutineers seized the ship in a daring act of rebellion. They sailed to Johanna in the Comoros Islands, where they stripped the vessel of unnecessary weight, making it one of the fastest ships of its time. Renamed the Fancy, it became Every's instrument for one of the most audacious pirate raids in history. In 1695, the Fancy and its crew targeted a Mughal treasure fleet in the Indian Ocean. Their primary prize was the Ganges Sawai, a heavily armed and treasure-laden ship carrying pilgrims and immense wealth back to India. The battle was fierce, but the Fancy's speed and superior maneuvering allowed Every to capture the ship. The haul was staggering. Millions in gold, silver, and jewels by today's standards, and the raid sparked a diplomatic crisis between England and the Mughal Empire. After this monumental heist, Every and his crew vanished. The Fancy was reportedly seen in Nassau, possibly given as a bribe to the governor. The Revenge. The Revenge was the ship of Calico Jack Rackham, but it gained unique notoriety for its 2 most famous crew members, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. These women defied the gender norms of their time, dressing as men during battle and fighting with ferocity equal to any of their male counterparts. The ship was built for swift, targeted strikes rather than prolonged naval engagements, relying on speed and surprise to overwhelm merchant vessels. Rackham and his crew roamed the waters of the Bahamas and Jamaica, preying on lightly defended ships. The presence of Bonny and Read added to the Revenge's infamy as tales of female pirates quickly spread in an era where such stories were almost unheard of. In October 1720, the Revenge was cornered by a British sloop commanded by pirate hunter Jonathan Barnett. Most of the crew, drunk from celebrating a recent capture, put up little resistance. Rackham was captured and later executed, but Bonny and Read avoided immediate execution due to claims of pregnancy. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these feared pirate ships do you think was the most terrifying to encounter at sea? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.